Proponents of the Keystone XL Pipeline have argued it will increase U.S. access to Canadian oil. While this position has intuitive appeal, it deserves further examination. 5 major oil pipelines already transport this oil derived from Canadian tar sands into the United States. These pipelines now terminate in Oklahoma, Illinois, and Michigan, providing much of the United States with an ample supply of tar sands-derived oil. In fact, industry analysts note that these pipelines have produced an oversupply of oil in some parts of our country, creating low gas prices for some Americans and diminished oil company profits. The Keystone Pipeline would provide an export outlet for Canadian oil, actually reducing supply in the Midwest by allowing oil companies to sell in higher-priced markets elsewhere in the world. In the abstract, I think members of this committee could agree that boosting domestic oil production in an environmentally responsible manner would be beneficial, insofar as it could reduce our dependence on OPEC oil. We discussed this subject in this committee, and as I stated at the time, I support such efforts to boost domestic production for domestic consumption. Therefore, when legislation to advance the Keystone Pipeline came to the House floor, I introduced, as I said I would here, a simple amendment requiring that oil to be used in America. That amendment would have ensured that Americans enjoy affordable gasoline and enjoy national security benefits as a result of the tar sands oil production. Obviously, those benefits evaporate if oil companies simply export Canadian oil to more expensive markets in China or Europe. I was surprised and disappointed, Mr. Chairman, that the House majority rejected that simple amendment, calling into question the motives underlying the push to approve the Keystone Pipeline. Alberta Energy Minister Ron Liepert said, "If there was something that kept me up at night, it would be the fear that before too long we're going to be landlocked in bitumen." While Canadian oil companies might increase their profits from selling oil overseas, such exports come at the expense of American consumers and American national security. If we're in conceptual agreement that there's a relationship between domestic oil supply and national security, then perhaps we should acknowledge that hemorrhaging oil overseas would undercut those benefits. Proponents of the pipeline have argued it will create jobs. I ask unanimous consent to enter into the record a Washington Post fact-check article noting that many job estimates offered by prominent elected officials have been wildly exaggerated. In reality, the pipeline likely will produce at most some 6,000 annual temporary construction-related jobs and as few as 50 permanent jobs. Compared to the 500,000 public sector jobs that have been lost in the recent recession and nascent recovery, this is an anemic job boost at best. Irrespective of whether one is a climate change science denier or acceptor, surely all of us could agree that additional oil transported by the Keystone Pipeline should stay in the United States, and absent legal guarantees, likely will not. With that, I yield back. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.